Right, hello everyone, welcome to Hilly Stream for Thursday nights. Sorry, Tuesday nights even. It is Tuesday, not Thursday. We're here for WAOF1, as always, Tuesday night stream. Tuesday night race, which is full qualifying 50% race in Mexico. The Spanish speaking North American country, South American country, I don't bloody know. It's one of the Americas, South America. It must be South.
Oh, no.
It's
Isn't that cute?
Yeah, because North America is Canada and
Isn't
USA.
that cute?
That's right.
That's
So,
so cute,
yeah,
that
South American country of Mexico. What to say, really? Fatal. Good evening. Yeah, absolutely. Long time. Good evening. Welcome to the stream. And I hope you enjoy it. I am on my own this week, guys. I will say I've just recently, last two races, I've had Carsey with me. It looks like I'm going to be on my own, although if he can, he's going to try and join later on, but it's probably looking a bit unlikely at the moment. But he will try, so we'll see if we can get him in. But otherwise, you just got me for Mexico. Mexico, Autodromo Rodriguez, whatever it is.
He's leading us to war.
Difficult circuit. Very varied in its different sectors. Obviously, sector 1, you got the long straight that leads up to turn 1, and then once you go through turn 1, 2, and 3 with the quick direction changes through those 3, you head on to another, I'd say, medium length straight that takes you down to 4, and then into the more difficult section that ends sector 1. Then you head into the S's through sector 2. After the double right-hander, a little straight before you actually go into the S's, but once you go into the S's, it's quick direction changes. Very, very easy to lose the car around here, especially as the tires wear. Then, of course, sector 3 is the stadium, basically the stadium section. That's all it is, really, which is the right, then the heavy braking left, the slowest corner on the track, down to at least second gear. I have seen the odd person take it in first, but I think second gear is perfectly acceptable. And then that awkward right-hander where the track sticks out and it's really difficult to get the power down, followed by the final corner where, again, it's just about getting the power down safely. Generally, if you do it well, do it safely, then you will carry good speed down the straight. So, and as Fatal said in the chat there, it is murder on tyres. So I'm expecting the very top guys to be one stopping tonight, but I absolutely think we will see some two stops. There's no way everybody will one stop this race. So that does of course depend on the weather, because as we are loading into qualifying, it is dry, but if you look at the sky, there's some dark clouds up there, and it is prone to a little bit of rain in Mexico, so we could well see it. Don't mind a bit of rain. Does make the overtaking a bit difficult, obviously, with no DRS, but that's part of it. That's why running in the rain is so difficult. So, part of the reason. So 18 on track at the moment. I think we were full earlier on, so I don't know if we've got anybody joining in quali. I guess we'll find out as we go. Details up. I just wonder if rain is due, then we might see a quick influx onto track. Of course, it may not be due until sort of Q2, in which case they don't need to rush. But one stop here, risky as hell. The tyre wear is utterly insane. Last race I did here, I had so much wear on the hard. I ended up having to free stop. Yeah, the only thing I'd say, Fatal, is if you're going to two-stop, you're better off doing it medium, hard, rather than two sets of mediums, because the mediums wear too fast. So it's better to use two sets of hards if you're going to two-stop it. But I mean, generally I tend to one-stop this race. I one-stop all the races, in all fairness. I don't two-stop any of them. So Probably the track that pushes me towards a two-stop the most is probably Austria, actually. But I have found a way of one-stopping it, so... Oh, absolutely. I think the softs are a quality-only turret most of the tracks, to be fair, but here, without a shadow of a doubt, they're useless for race, so... even if you get like a safety car around, let's say, lap 26 or something like that, and it does say 3 laps and comes in at the end of 29, so you got 30 to 36 remaining, the softs are useless. They'll be absolutely dead. Like halfway through that, they'll be dead. So that is the only risk of doing a two-stop where you're using 2 sets of hards. If you get a late safety car and all you've got left is use softs from quali or to use mediums you used earlier on in the race. So, yeah. Anyway, Boss Membrane is first onto a lap. So, let's go on board. Again, I one-stop it Fatal, but I have been caught out on it before. But I do one-stop it. And then, obviously, if a safety car comes out, then I jump in. But I do set up to one-stop them. But the vast majority, Austria either way round, almost everybody two-stops them. So I don't think my way's quicker, but I just prefer to race it like that. Bossing away, reasonably tidy. This stage, obviously Q1, just get yourself a lap on the board. It may well be good enough in a way. Yeah, I'd agree, start on hards. I would say that. Just because if you get like a lap 6 or 7 safety car or something like that, that could be a stint done. Get onto the mediums and then go to the hards to end the race later on. And if you absolutely need to, you can go back to those first hards if another late safety car comes out. Anyway, the Astons, Boss 16.2, 17.5 for Kev, Robin 16.4. Who else we got? Somebody's on the way to the line. James 15.6. Sorry, excuse me. Who we got next? Watson is on an outlap. This is Gregory, who were McLaren across the line, but they weren't on an actual lap because both McLarens are on a lap now, so that was an outlap. Gregory is next to finish a proper lap, and it's a 16.0, puts her into P2 for the moment. Someone else across the line, that was Ryanair, 16.1. You can see Barry for the remainder of the third sector. D-Kit 19.9, Chewbacca 16.2, in fine form. Barry 16.5 then, I've missed someone I think. Have I? No I haven't. No I haven't. What's on the hards? So he's gone with a hard selection, clearly. He's going to see if he can get through Q1, I guess, on the hards. I'll be honest, Fado, I am so bad off the line on this year's game. It doesn't matter what tire. I could start on softs and still lose 8 places. It's especially on a straight like this. So I may as well just, if I was doing it, I may as well just go hards and just take whatever positions I lose in a way. Some horrendous off the line, absolutely horrendous. So Watson heads to the line, 1.18.0, puts in P10. I don't think he's going to feel too confident about getting through on that one. Here we go to see Whale for the first time this evening. I don't think that time he set there Fatal on the hards is going to be enough for him to be able to rely on. He's going to have to go faster if he's going to get through. So Whale looking good, and fine form. Did comms on my race on the race I raced in last night, along with Admiral, and gave me plenty of abuse. Thanks, guys. In my race-winning debut. Haha. Gotta get that in. I've got to fit that in. 16-0 P4 for Ferrari from the Welster. Other Ferrari. What do I think? Have we got? No, we haven't. So yeah, stick to Ozers because I think he's next to actually cross the line. That we're out of the drivers on a lap. Something just come up at the bottom of my screen there, but I've got absolutely no idea what it literally appeared and disappeared so fast that I had no idea what it said. I'm assuming we've lost somebody. It's either we lost somebody or somebody's joined, I don't know which, but absolutely no idea who, because I didn't get a chance to see it. Here is Gunnar then. Ozers, by the way, went up to P3 59. That continuation of pace improving for Ozers, and good form continues by the looks of it. Thank you, Fatal. So that's all it was Shane's ego retiring. It just came up so fast at the bottom on my screen, I couldn't, no chance of reading that in time. Going there 15.984 puts him into P4. Oh, that's Boss. And that's a wall. Waits for a couple of cars just to pass. I think that's Sauber is Barry, who's on an out lap. No, it's not. It's Gunnar, who's on an in lap. So he doesn't need to worry about the two Saubers. They are both not on laps. I've got no idea about the Haas. I guess that is Watson, is it? No, it's not Watson. It's Robin. He's on an out lap as well. So nobody around him on a hot lap at the moment. Let's go to Falcar. Watson has improved this time, by the way, put to a 1:17.7, but he is in a drop zone already with that, so he's definitely going to have to switch to a set of softs. So it seems like it's more a case of he wanted to do a little bit of race running. So that tells us that Watson is... That tells me, anyway, that Watson is intending to one-stop this race. Otherwise he wouldn't be putting wear onto that second set of hards. Yeah, he's just completed a lap, Falco, sorry, for 1:15.6, went into P2. Sorry, excuse me. I haven't actually given up smoking, by the way. That is why my throat is a little bit horrible at the moment, so very tickly. Let's go to Panda. So new driver in WAOF1 has joined, and I believe this is his first race. Unless he raced on one of the other nights, but certainly on Tuesday night, this is definitely his first race. So I drive on Sundays, and I don't recall him racing on a Sunday, so unless he's done a Thursday, I believe this is his WAOF1 debut. I believe he races in the same division as James in XRS, so expect some decent things from him. So 16-0 goes P8. So I'm still practicing on those hards. It's like Q1, so we'll look to concentrate now on the guys that are trying to get through here. So the guys that are down sort of outside the top 10, really, I would suggest that we concentrate on them because they're the ones that are actually fighting for survival and qualifying. As you need to be in the top 15 at this stage. Ransdal, hello, how's it going? It's all good, thank you very much. As we look to enjoy a bit of Mexico. I definitely prefer commentating Mexico than racing it, let's just say that. The strange one, because actually it's not like in my most hated tracks to drive, in all fairness. I'll tell you what is my most hated track, it's Canada, because that's what I was practicing earlier on. On the day that I've given up smoking, I am practicing Canada and tearing what very little is left of my hair out. I hate it. Oh Canada. Saying that because I am racing there tomorrow night and Saturday night. So Robin not improving. Admiral a little bit of trouble at the moment in P14. On form throughout the season, Admiral not a driver you'd expect to be in any sort of trouble when it comes to dropping out at the Q1 stage. He's a 10th up through sector 1. No, it's not Randstall. I hate it. It is my least favourite track in the game. I think I hate it more than Monaco, I'll be honest. Yeah, same. But it's not too bad with the track limits and that. It just annoys me when you get when you go the corner that really annoys me on it is the right-left chicane in sector 1 when you know full well you've not gone all 4 wheels across that chicane and it still invalidates you, and it's oh my god. Anyway, Admiral up to P12 on a 16.3. That improvement all seemed to pretty much be in sector 1. D-Kit a few temps down in sector 1. Goes wide there, so I don't think it's likely to be finding any improvement here. But just under 5 minutes remaining, so there's plenty of time for all the drivers out on track at the moment to still pit. I really do hope the next time we get... I don't know whether there'll be any proper track updates in like the game update for 26, or whether we got to wait till 27 for all that sort of stuff, but whenever it is, I really do hope that Canada is one of those tracks that gets done properly. You know, with all the laser stuff they've been doing. So Karma through the final sector then, out through the final corner, it looked to be improving. No real issues through the final sector, and moves up to P8. Good luck from Karma. Watson now out on a set of softs. So he's left himself enough time for a couple of runs. Although he hasn't put the fuel in the car to do a couple of runs. So this is it, I think. Might have enough time to get rounding in and out again, I'm not sure. It takes too much maths at this point. But, truthfully, I don't think he's going to need to. I think this lap's going to be good enough as it looks. Here he comes, out the final corner then. Heads to the line, 1:16.0 moves him into P9. I think that will be enough. So Robin just heading onto a hot lap in P15 at the moment, so he's in the danger zone. Highway to the danger zone. What a tune. Oh, I'm amazed that didn't invalidate, I'll be honest. I felt all 4 wheels were off the track, so he obviously didn't gain an advantage, and yeah, that makes sense because he is 1/4 of a second down. Double right-hander, nicely taken. Perhaps could have opened up the steering a little bit sooner, but nicely taken. Yeah, gained a lot of the 1/4 of a second back there. What could he do through the final sector? Really attacking. Oh, get that car to the inside, Robin. But he does improve a little bit. 26 thousandths improvement. So not the biggest improvement, but just makes it a little bit more difficult for the guys behind him to jump ahead. Barry onto a lap just up to the end of sector 1. He's a 10th down. Yeah, again through the double right, just taking it in such a way that leaves it a bit late to get on the power again. Remember the golden rule of F1, slow in, fast out. All pretty good through the final sector, I think. And yeah, a couple of attempts improvement, knocks Robin into P16, but only goes P15, so he's in a bit of danger from D-Kit and Kev. D-Kit heading onto a lap. And yeah, I'm not surprised to see Admiral back out on track to try and cover himself here. He's just heading around the final corner now for starting a lap. We'll stick with D-Kit. Kev's just started his lap as well, so all the drivers involved here at the end of Q1 are on laps apart from Robin. Didn't actually see the split time there for D-Kit. Seems to be taking a lot of curb through the start of sector 2. That's going to send him wide, is it? He just about keeps it inside the track limits. And he's a couple of attempts up. He needs about another 10th and a half just to equal Barry. So here comes D-Kit. 3 attempts improvement, goes P16. Barry not improving. Kev, 3 attempts up. Admiral through the final corner. Barry into the pit, so Admiral is now safe. But he does improve by 4 attempts and jumps up to P6 anyway. Kev across the line improves 6 attempts, a massive time improvement, but stays P18. So I think in terms of the drivers that we're going to lose this session, that is it. Tupac already through, but improves his time a bit in a way to do a 16-1. We'll be heading into Q2. James fastest in Q1, but very tight between him and Falco, and those directly behind that as well. Then, so yeah, Karma, fantastic P3 from Karma reduced. Going 4, Ryan 5. Anyway, that's not important at this stage. So yeah, unlucky to D-Kit, Robin, and Kev, who we lose at the end of Q1. Here's our instance, they're all on the one screen there. So it's all conceded in track limits or speeding into the pit lane, which is nothing that's of any actual use to the stewards at this stage, but it's there just in case. So we head into Q2, no sign of rain yet. Perhaps we're not getting any. Definitely overcast. What does that mean? Well, in terms of, obviously, the overcast dry will mean that the track's not quite as hot, and nor is the air temperature. So what that will mean is it is slightly slower. The cooler it is, the hotter the track temperature, and that the faster the cars can go. But at the same time, we're not talking vast differences here, by the way, but at the same time, though, the higher temperatures do, of course, degrade the tyres a lot quicker. So there's, you know, big differences. Ideally, you want super hot for qualifying and then overcast for the race. That's the perfect weekend, pretty much. So, normal service resumes with Gunnar first out on track in Q2. Who you're so used to seeing. When he's not first on track, I get slightly worried there might be something wrong. So, as usual in Q2, we tend to see the first runs on the same set of tyres I used in Q1, just to get a delta on the board. Not everybody does it that all the time, but I think two reasons. One, it gets a delta on the board, and two, it means you're actually going for your proper lap a little bit further into the session when the tracks are slightly more evolved. So it completely makes sense to do that first time round. So, let's go on board with Daguner as he comes round to start his first run of Q2. Heading down the straights. See, I've got the speed on kilometres an hour, so he's topping 340 now. So yeah, 340 was the fastest we saw down the straight there from Gunnar. So we can compare that to anybody else we see going down the straight as the session goes on. Goes through the double right hand, they're all pretty comfortable and nice. Head into the S's then. Difficult sector. You think of the most difficult sectors throughout the season, it's all the S sections, isn't it? We think of Sector 1 at Japan, Sector 1 at Kota, Sector 1 at Jeddah, Sector 2 here at Mexico. It's always the S's that tend to be the hardest. You know, that's assuming you don't take Monaco into account, because I suppose that's right up there, regardless of which sector it is. Gunnar then, 16.8. Ozers immediately beats that with 16.1. Boss Membranes, 15.9. Barry coming around the final corner. As Gregory jumps up to P3 on a 16.1. Barry, 16.9. Ooh, just missed someone there. Oh, Falcao's out! Falcao is out, he's crashed. Can I get to that Merc? We might just get a view of what's happened. The only thing I can think is that he's touched the curb on the outside, put the power down, and it spun him across into the wall. That is the only thing that I can think can possibly happen there. It's a really unusual place, if I'm honest. You don't see many crashes at that area of the track, as Panda goes fastest, 15.4. Time's coming down a bit from what we saw in Q1. We're on board with Admiral as he approaches the final corner. The last of the drivers out there to finish a time, and he goes into P4 on a 16.0. So I think may well have been fresh tyres from Panda and Chris, and probably, well, potentially Boss. I think everybody else is probably on board. You know, they might have been as well. I don't know, is the honest truth. I can't be sure. I've turned into Wowzers. What am I doing? Right. Well, Ryan. Anybody else heading on to another lap? There's a McLaren going up the straight, if I can find him. So I think Armour might be having another go. So it's 16.1 on his first outing. And down to the end of Sector 1 then. Plus 0.068, so very tight, only just over half a tenth. Definitely make that out through the S's, although that exit there will not have helped. Oh, that's gonna go round! Oh! Oh my word, you lucky, lucky boy, Karma. reason I say that's lucky is because he's gone round, but he's caught the board absolutely square in the nose. Absolutely square in the nose, which is meant he's not taken a wheel off. He's just got some wing damage, which he can obviously get fixed in the pits easy enough. At this point, I have absolutely no idea who's on the lap, who's just driving slowly or heading on to a... I don't know why Chris hasn't driven into the pits there. I don't know what's going on. Let's be honest, he hasn't got a clue. Right, Chewbacca and James. So Chewbacca a bit further around. Brilliant work from Chewbacca last week. All good, Mark, thank you very much. And I hope you're well too. Watching from work, I would assume. As we head into the S's with Chewbacca, another driver who's showed a considerable pace improvement through the season and started season pretty much at the back and has just gradually made his way forward. So so close to Q3 so many times now, but he's also got a podium as well, so which is outstanding. Goes P8 there, 16.2. Oh, sorry, let's get I've one too many, but there's James M, 15.7. Not at the top of the pile now, lad. You gonna ego retire this time, I wonder? Gunnar back out there, heading through the S's then. Oh, fair enough. Gunnar then into the stadium section. It's really awkward. It's a part of the track I've never been able to master. Whenever I drive against AI, they always get on me through that part of the track, so I definitely don't know how to do it properly. But Gunnar doesn't do too bad because he's 15.4 and up to P2. Was that Watson jumping up there? It was, up to P5. Can we get down to the Ferrari? This is Whale. He's now heading into this awkward section. It's this bit that I always find a problem. But Whale seems to navigate that very well. (15.7), 5.5 temp improvement. He jumps up to P4 just ahead of James. Got James into the pits there. I can't see who that is. It's crossing the line right now. Ozers, though, is about to cross the line. He goes 15.6, just ahead of his teammate. They've been so tight all season, those two. So, I think, actually, let's go to Panda. Oh, I've gone one too many again, and nearly dropped my pad. So it's just gone up to the end of sector 1. I haven't actually done the hilly hot lap for us yet, but almost 2 temps down. So, still using some overtake, so maybe trying to still put a lap together here. Yes, he is on worn tyres now, actually. You can see up in the top left there, 2 laps completed on these tyres, so I would suggest that 15.4 is going to get him through in a way, so he doesn't really need to worry too much about that. It's I think this is probably more of a practice. Maybe playing about with his ERS to see if he can find a slightly better way to use it. And back to the pits he goes. So Gregory, 3 temps up through sector 2. That would put him up to P7, but I suspect we're going to see another improvement through the final sector. And indeed we do. 15.6 moves him all the way up to P4. That shows how tired it is. 15.7 would have been P7. 15.6 puts him P4. the average now, no, I'm with Furesville. Absolutely. We got to make our money, Mark, can't we? You know, we got to pay the electric bill that it takes. Right, Gregory presumably just on an in-lap here. James is back out on track. So from the Ego retirement to the Ego retirement in Q1, James is back out, having to go again. I'm still pretty confident that 15.7 was on the worn tyres from the previous session, so he was obviously just, let's say it's about getting a delta on the board, but as he was top of Q1, it was worth going out, having a go on the worn tyres, and then just seeing if you could get through Q2 without using an extra set. It's always handy if you can save a set for the races, though you're not likely to want them around Mexico. But it's always good to have them there just in case. It would have to be a very late safety car to even consider using a set of softs at Mexico, to be honest. As in, pretty much all you're doing is the last 4 laps. It would have to be that you're only going to race the last 3 to 4 laps because they will die. Anyway, I guess as we're on board with him, let's do the hilly hot lap with James. That's right, the final corner overtake up the straight. DRS open. We saw Gunnar hit 340. Let's see what James hits. 341.23. So Max is out of 343. Get the car over to the left, ready to turn in. And be a bit careful across the curves because it's all about the momentum through the corner and then getting on the power out of the turn. DRS open again now, down to 4. Right, just after the 100 metre board, turn in. James using 3rd gear. I think someone used 2 through there and following corner. Now, keep tight to the inside, open up the steering so that you can take the speed out and down into the S's. Use plenty of curb through the S's here. Keep the car left now, go into the right hander. It is all flat out. And then DRS open again, get the car over to the left, ready as we come through sets of 2, couple of attempts up. And he's not quite got that right, didn't carry the pace all the way through. And into the slow left-hander. The rest of the sector wasn't too bad, but what did that cost him in terms of time? Well, actually he gained more time through the sector overall, so almost a half a second improvement. 15.2 goes P1, and now he can do an ego retire. Well, no, he can't actually. Well, he might be able to. He should be able to just about get back to the pits in time to do one. Gregory's already done one. Gregory thinks he's done enough. I think it's going to be very tight, to be fair. We're on board with Boss, who's in P9. Oh, that's going to take him around. Back end completely going out on him. Nothing to do with that Haas there, by the way. Haas was completely out the way, but for whatever reason, the car did not like the turn in at all, and just back end just completely stepped out. On P10, I didn't see the split time there. Tiny little snap coming out the final corner, but improves 5.5 temps. That puts him up to P5. Here is the Sauber of Barry. He's already half a second up. 1.1 second improvement puts him into P9. Great improvement from Barry. That puts Boss down to P11. Here's Karma, slightly down through sets of 2 as he managed to find anything in the final sector. Yes, he can. 3.5 temps improvement. He goes into P10, putting Watson down to 11. Watson also on a lap, though. I don't know who's furthest round. Looks like Watson is. Oh, that's invalidated! So we're going to lose Watson. We're going to lose Boss. Can't Chewbacca do anything? He's a 10th down through sector 2. So he's going to need a monumental final sector. And I don't think that's going to be it. But let's just keep an eye over the line, goes 16-0, so he does improve by a tenth, but stays P14. So Williams boys will be starting 14 and 15. Boss is still out there, but as you can see, invalidated and not on a lap in a way, I don't think. So is Admiral having another go? No. So that is the end of Q2. So once again, James fastest, but with Ozers in P2 this time. Chris P3, Panda 4, Guna 5. Admiral Whale, Gregory, Barry, and Karma through to the pole position shootout of Q3. Unfortunately, at this point, we say unlucky to Watson, Boss Membrane, Ryanair, Chewbacca, and Falcao following that crash early in the session. That is it. So we will head into the much shorter Q3. Generally, only the vast majority of tracks only enough times to do 2 runs in Q3. Some tracks like Austria, for example, the really short lap time tracks, you might be able to squeeze a 3rd run in, but it's always very tight. There's the DNF from Falcao, terminal damage. So as I said at the time, the only thing I can think is come out of the double right-hander, and I think coming out of that, he's just touched the curb on the left while having maybe full throttle down, and it's thrown him across into the wall on the other side. We didn't see the incident, but that is with where he ended up, that's the only thing I can possibly think of, if I'm honest. So we head into Q3, and still no sign of rain. With it being a short session, all rushing out at the start of the session could indicate that there's rain on the way, or it could just be because it's a short session, so it doesn't give us too much information if they all do that. I guess if they all do it, that would be an indication. But if 7 or 8 cars come out quick, that's probably not telling me much. And in all fairness, going by the movement in the pit lane, they're not exactly rushing, are they? So Gunnar, shot car out first. So Gunnar has his teammate in Q3 this week. Barry, what a performance from Barry into Q3. Barry and Barry and Karma, probably the standout performances there through Q2 to get into Q3. Panda as well, just simply because he's new to the league, so on debut into Q3. But I do know, as I say, that he drives in the same division as James in XRS, so I think probably expect him really to get into Q3, to be fair. So only the one car still in the pits, and that's Whale. I'm just wondering if the Ferraris are trying to time this so that he'll be behind his teammate to be able to get a tow down the straight. Is he moving? Not so far. Right, anyway, on board with Gunnar. So maybe not then. If he starts moving now, it'd be too late, so... really hit that second curve, but it's almost seemed to help him around the corner. Yeah, again, plenty of curb being taken, which is what you got to do. Yeah, I feel just a little late opening up steering. Nice through the S's though. Head down now to the stadium. All seemed pretty good through the stadium. Oh, maybe a little slide on the exit there at the final corner, but otherwise very good. 15.4 from Gunnar. Can't quite get to Panda in time, but he goes 15.3. Ozer's 15.6. James into the final corner. 16.0. McLaren of Chris. 16.2. Other McLaren into the pits, so it'll be Barry across line. 15.8 from Barry. Nice lap. Admiral 16.2. And I think that's it for the moment. Karma back into the pits. Whale is just crossing the line to start a lap. Seen so far any teammate games to give toes. We do have both Mercedes, both Saubers, both Ferraris, both McLarens. So we've got 4 pairs of teammates into Q3. That doesn't happen very often, by the way. 4 pairs of teammates into Q3. The way we separate out the teammates in WAOF1, we don't usually get that, in all fairness. I think we've probably seen more quality session Q3s where it's no pairs of teammates than 4, in all fairness. Whale out the double right then, heads into the left, picks up a bit of grass on his tyre, but that doesn't really matter if I'm honest. Again, picks up a bit on the right, but it all looks steady enough. Doesn't seem to unsettle him. It's all looked pretty good, in all fairness. I think it'll be a decent starter. So 15.9 puts him into P6. I think that's a decent target for him. If he's doing another run. Panda slightly up on his second run here on these tyres. Goes into the pits, so can't have carried that improvement through the final corner, so heads to the pits. I'm sure he would have completed the lap if he was still up going through the final corner, because why wouldn't you? You had plenty of time to do an in lap and then get back out again, so I think he would have completed the lap. At the end of the day, you'd be making it that tiny little bit harder for those behind to get ahead of you. So I'm pretty sure we're just watching Whale going back to the pits here, but as he's the only one on track, may as well laugh at him. I think that's the first time I've ever seen Whale pit without taking out a bollard on the way. He usually takes 1 or 2 bollards with him, sometimes 3 or 4. So, oh, we've got Karma on track now. So, Karma didn't get the time on the time on the bird, first time out, time on the board, first time out. Just an invalidation. Let's see what he can go here. Come out in that sort of bit in the middle of the session where you get nobody on track. So he gets a clear run. And I'd imagine he's fueled enough to be able to go a second time. Actually no, because I can't see the fuel right now, so anyway, we head down the straight. What top speed do we get here from Karma? 341, 342, 3. So joint highest we've seen so far. .27.8 through sets of 1. Pretty nice through the left-right, that wasn't too bad. Slightly loose on exit. Around the double right-hander. Pretty nicely. Uses all the track on the entry to head into the S's. DRS open. And we head down to the end of sets of 2. 56.034. They've moved that split time slightly further up the straight than what it used to be. It's where it used to be down by the corner. Oh, he's invalidated there, Karma. Oh, that's a pain. It seemed like a decent lap right to the end when he invalidated there. His teammate is heading onto a lap. Chris back onto a lap. So PB in this session at the moment, 16.293. And was high up the order at the end of Q2. Only reaches, I think 337 was the highest I saw there, so it seems to have a serious top speed deficit there. Tenth and a half up though, through sector 1, so it hasn't hurt in that sense. Catching his teammate, I'm sure, will keep out the way. Where what I assume is slightly higher wings than what the others are running will help, and he's half a second up, and you would think those wings will help him through this sector as well. Needs a bit more to head into the top 4. It's all look pretty good to me. 15.2 goes fastest, Chris. Really good lap, really good lap, very tidy. Gunnar out the final corner, heads to the line. 15.0 from Gunnar, goes fastest. Barry is invalidated. Yeah, I just missed the first sets of time there. PB at the moment 16.253 in this session. Here we go for the second sector, half a second up. So pretty much square on a 15.7, but I'm sure there'll be more to come, like we saw with Chris. Through the final sector. Here he comes then, 15.4 from Admiral, goes P5, just behind his teammate by 0.04 of a second. And we got the two McLarens again. Chris invalidated, but it's Karma. Well, he is improving. I don't know. He hasn't got a proper time on the board, so we won't know basically until he crosses the line. 16.6, so he gets the time on the board, but it will still be P10. Barry, I don't think it's improving. No. And Gunnar heads to the pits. Who have we got next? We got an invalidation from James. Oh, it's disastrous for James. It's going to be way down the order compared to where he expected to be. Panda improving. 10th up through sets of 2. Heads to the line. Has he done enough to get pole? Not quite. Stays P3 but improves his time. Gregory improving. Goes P3. 15.2. 27 thousandths. And that was Ozers. P2. Whale, P7. So both Ferraris improve at the end there. Ozers up to P2, 15.227. Whale at the P7 on a 15.522. And Admiral Slight there, my apologies, but he's not on a lap. So that is it for qualifying. So it's a Gunnar pole position. It feels like it's been a while, but it is a Gunnar pole position with a 15.064. Ozer's a fantastic P2, and Chris, what a performance for P3 from Chris. Debut P4. As well for the driver whose name escapes me right now. Oh no, it's not. Sorry, it's Gregory in P4, Panda in P5. So debut P5 for Panda. Admiral in 6, Wales 7, Barry 8, James 9, Karma 10. I do the full grid rundown in a way when we go onto the formation lap, so we'll do that at that point. Any drivers listening, please don't forget, do not ready up. We do take a 5-minute break, so please do not ready up, because it would just delay everything. And we look forward to the race, guys. So I'll be back in a few minutes, ready for the formation lap. I will see you all then. Thank you for being with me through quali, and I look forward to the race. Right, he's back with you. Looks like him in the game chat, so bear with me. There we go. Awesome quality, says Whale. Absolutely. Awesome. Nice and tight. So we like it, of course. So, why does my phone feel like it's on fire? Bloody hell. Yes, apparently not. So race start time is 9 o'clock, so getting close. As I say, we'll do the full grid rundown, we'll go through tyres and potential strategies. And compared to quali, it looks a lot less likely that we'll get rain here, so we didn't get any. Didn't get any rain in quali, of course, but wouldn't be surprised if we did, just because it looks less likely at the moment in the race. But we'll see. So I can hear the countdown going on. We're getting close to the formation lap. Here they are. So, right then. So Gunnar starts on pole with Ozers alongside in P2. Chris starting in 3 with Gregory in 4. Panda starts 5 with Admiral alongside in 6. Wales starting in 7. Barry starts in P8. Fantastic result from Barry. James in P9. Karma will start in P10. Watson starts in 11. Boss in 12. Ryan and Chewbacca make up the 7th row of the grid, while Falcao starts in P15 following his qualifying crash in Q2. D-Kit starts in 16, and Robin and Kev start 17 and 18, which is the 9th and final row of the grid tonight. Tyres, the top 9 will start on the mediums, then a run of 3 hard tyre starters with Karma, Watson and Boss. Ryan and Chewbacca on them both on the mediums. Williams splitting their strategy with Falcao starting on the hards. D-Kit starts on the mediums in P16, and Robin and Kev both opting for the hards. Potential strategies. I still believe that the one-stop is the fastest strategy here, so I'm expecting the one-stops, particularly from the top guys. Which will obviously be medium to hard, looking at what they're on, apart from maybe the guys just outside the top 10, and Karma in P10. Let's do hard medium, I think. But I think we will see some 2-stops, and there is always a chance around here that a safety car can come into play because of sector 2. As the tyres get worn, which is usually pretty quickly, that second sector becomes more and more slippery. Every single lap that you go round there, it gets worse and worse and worse. So there is always a chance of a safety car around Mexico. Lights are coming on. Quite a long pause, out they go, and away we go. Karma reduced, gets a drive-through penalty for jumping the start. Other than that, Gunnar's off to a good start. Ozers looks he's off to a decent start, but he's coming under a bit of pressure from the McLaren. The Alpine Panda up to 4 is going past Gregory. And then we take a look. Barry, severe collision with Whale, who's dropped down. There's been some big stuff going on. I didn't see exactly what happened, but look at the penalties flashing up on the screen. Barry, Karma, Boss, all have penalties. And I think they're under VSC at the moment. What is going on? Penalties. Look, Karma's got the drive-through. That's the jump in the starts that we saw. Barry's now picked up 22nd of penalties. Boss has got 10. Changes. Position changes. Falcao is up 7 places, up to P8. James and Whale are both right down as we do resume racing again. Just seeing if we can spot any damage. Whale doesn't seem to have any damage that we can see. James, no, he doesn't seem to have any damage either. So I'm not going to lie, guys, I don't really know what's happened. Clearly there was some coming together on the... I think it was actually on the straight, because I was trying to see the turn 1s. I was trying to see people going through turn 1 to see if I could see any contact. So I think the contacts happened actually on the straight. As you can see with Boss there, he's got no front wing at all. And Karma and Chewbacca in, so Karma getting rid of that drive through as quick as he could. I don't blame him, because you never quite know that we could see a safety car, of course. That didn't look good from Boss there, but didn't retire him, and he did drive into the pits normally after that, so there we go, new wing waiting for him, and we'll serve the penalty as well. The only thing he needs his team to do is make sure he gets out on track before the leaders. Should do. It's now looking starting to look very tight, as if whether he will or not. Really wants to be out with a bit of a gap. He's not going to, is he? Gunner's going to appear here. Yeah, he's a lap down. Oh, that's disaster. That is disaster. I mean, if he can stay in amongst them, then he will unlap himself when they all pit. But yeah, not the ideal start to this race for Boss. As Karma, I think Karma's made a mistake going into the pits there. I actually think Karma might have just spun into the pits, you know. Just simply going by the yellow flag that came out. Anyway, let's finally get to the actual racing. So, Gunnar leads 1.4 seconds currently over Ozers, who has Chris in hot pursuit with 7 tenths behind. Panda in the top 4, up 1 place. Gregory down 1 to 5th, but he's running nicely 5th and 6th with his teammate. Admiral's just a little bit of a gap to Admiral, 2.5 seconds behind. Watson in full pursuit. And then Falco, who's had this wonderful start. Sorry, that's what I was trying to get to. So Watson and Falco, you've got to say, in absolutely superb positions at the moment. Having started on the hards. What a great position they're in 7 and 8. And is Falco going to attack Watson here? To the inside, under DRS. And Watson has a little sneaky look to see if he can get a sort of switch back. But Falco says no. I've made the corner and I'm going to cover that off. Through goes James against Barry. And Ryanair's trying to get him as well. And does. So the two RBs working in nice tandem there to get past the Sauber. A reminder that our Constructors' Championship is very much a battle between the RBs and Ferrari as it stands at the moment. So I'm not going to take any aspersions on that, but things in Ferrari's favour at the moment in this race. But we've seen in recent races just how quickly that can change. So Chris looking pretty close to Ozers this time round. Surely he'll get a run. They both have a plethora of ERS. Chris not with the highest. We saw in qualifying he's not got the highest straight line speed. And look, he cannot get past. He didn't even catch him. Didn't even look to me like he was actually gaining anything. Just seems to be pretty static, the gap between the two. It just has done. He's caught the back of Gunnar. So he's back within the second of Gunnar. Let's bear in mind here, Gunnar is a pad driver, so naturally in this year's game, the pad drivers do seem to struggle a bit more with tyre wear. So as these laps go on, Ozers might find this race coming more and more to him. Head onto the straight. Well, we've seen the straight line speed from Ozers in defending from Chris. both get DRS this time. Last time round, Ozers didn't have DRS, only Chris did. And he still couldn't gain on Ozers. Ozers is trying to go after Gunnar here. In the end, decides it was just a bit too late by the time he caught onto the back of him, so just backs out of it. But it was still a massive gain down the straight. Certainly got to be thinking, surely I'll get a chance next lap. Falcao making the overtake on Admiral. As, well, Admiral gets it from both sides. Falcao, the inside. What's on the outside? Just turns in. Oh, and now he's stuck together with Ryan. Well, yeah, that didn't look good. I'm not gonna lie, that didn't look good. I think that will end up with the stewards for certain, because that did not look good whatsoever. So, what's that actually done? Now Falcao up to 6, James is in 7, Barry 8. So I think Barry's gained out of that. Admiral in P9, and I can't see any obvious signs of damage for him as James is in. And I think James has switched to a 2-stop strategy then. It's going to be his way of trying to get back through the field, I think. Go to a 2-stop. The 1-stoppers won't be coming in until somewhere around lap 14-15. I would expect them in. So that to me is a definite 2-stop. Which you can't blame him. He needs to get through the field, and one way of doing that is to make yourself much, much faster on track due to fresher tyres. He's got some work to do though in the interim, in these laps here where he's got the fresh tyres. These are going to be crucial laps for James. He's got to find that neat spot where he's very fast, but at the same time keeps the tyres nice and fresh. It's not that easy to do both. That's what he's got to do. And into the pits is Ozers. That's Ozers in. From seconds to Ozers 2-stopping. Well, I think Gunnar's going to have a wry smile on his face, because I don't think for a second he's 2-stopping this race. I stick by my comments earlier on. I still believe the 1-stop is the faster strategy, so we'll see. It's going to be an interesting one. I kind of hope already at this point that no safety cars ruin this, because this is going to be a strategic battle, and I love these. But, I'm sure there's some drivers that hope we might see a safety car, Boss for certain, because it enabled himself to get back onto the lead lap and then onto the back of the group. Karma as well after that horrible sorry, excuse me, that horrible jump start. So at the moment, it's Chris after Gunnar. Gunnar leading the way. Chris P2, Gregory in a very nice P3 at the moment. Falcao, I think when he was 15th on the grid, he would not have been expecting on lap 9 to be running around in 4th. And he's now going to be P3 as Chris makes the move for the lead and gets ahead. Falcao also moving up to P3 as Gregory pits. I still think we're in the 2-stops. Well, not think. We are in the 2-stops territory still at the moment. So Chris leads Gunnar at this stage. Falcao, I think now he's got some clean air. I expect to see that gap starting to come down, if I'm honest with you, as the two Haas switch positions. Oh, but Robin makes a little mistake. And that's going to allow Ryan air around, but he's not giving up on it, is he, Robin? Tried to fight Ryan off, but Ryan Really determined to make his way through there, and did so with a plum. Not a plum. Plum. Kev also having a very nice race. I know there's some pit stops involved here, which it's helping, but it's Ozers onto the back of Kev with the fresher tyres. He looks to go out the inside, goes way off track. Needs to give that place back, if I'm honest. Illegal overtake off track. He's not giving it back. Ooh. Should be giving that back. Well, I might report him for that, just for the hell of it. I love getting annoying nosers. So, Admiral's been in. He's come back out. He's on the back of Chewbacca as he exits. I don't know if he's got DRS here or not, because it's a double detection with the main straight one. So just before the final corner, the detection zone. Sorry, I missed it. Gunnar had pitted, so Gunnar's been in, and he's gone to hard. So I think that's a 2-stop from Gunnar as well. Are we not going to see anyone? There must be 1-stoppers out there. In comes Ryanair from P4. If anyone's going to one-stop, it's Watson. Absolutely see him one-stopping. And Chris is usually pretty good at doing it as well. And we know he's running higher wings, which should give him a better opportunity to one-stop it. In terms of those people that have already pitted, Chris still has, I'm trying to do this in my head, but 12, he's still got just under 16 seconds ahead of Ozers, who's the top driver that has pitted so far. So at the moment, if Chris thinks he can one-stop this race, I mean, you can see the problem with it. He's 2.5 seconds down on his best time. He's got a 16-second advantage at the moment of the nearest driver that's pitted so far. He only needs to hold it out about another... Well, the end of lap 14, I would say, is where you're looking at for one-stopping if you started on the mediums. Lap 14 onwards, but he's in. He's in. So, maybe just couldn't do it. I mean, I must admit, I've always one-stopped this race, but I haven't driven Mexico in some time. Maybe it's changed. Maybe this was one of the tracks where they changed the compounds, because nobody seems to want to do it. Gregory makes the overtake on Kev up into P6. Gunnar getting past Panda on the short straight up to turn 4. So that's Gunnar back to P3 now. That's a couple of laps of advantage tyre wise on both Panda and Ozers, so he is closing that gap on Ozers. There'll be an overtake coming up as Chris reaches the back of Kev. He's on 11 lap old hards, so I don't think there's going to be too much battling going on here from Kev. He's clearly on a different strategy, so has to worry about what he's doing. Or started at the back as well, so he's doing nicely at the moment running in P8, but oh! It's a right snap there of oversteer on the curb. And Chris is going to use that to his advantage to overtake. Chris will still get the DRS. He was through the detection zone when he went past, so through he goes. And yeah, no, Kev doesn't have DRS to come back at him either. As we got a McLaren in trouble, that must be karma. As we saw Chris overtaking Kev there, so had to be the other McLaren. But back on track, and just double checking. I can't. No signs of any damage. Both end plates on the car. Boss still driving around in amongst this. I think he is in amongst the lead group. So Ozer's catching Watson at this stage. Gunnar is catching Ozer's. Panda's just happily at the moment having lost the place to Gunnar, but he's staying on the back of him. And all the while, James's much earlier stop has gained him some time back over this top group. As that's Boss Membrane, who's at the back there, mining out the way. He's still close enough, Boss, to the front guys that if a safety car come out and they all dived in, he can still potentially unlap himself and then drive round to the back of the group. So, sorry, what am I doing? I'm looking at the wrong bit here. Loser's right on the back of Watson, but he's going to have Gunnar all over the back of him. We've got a yellow flag. It seems to be karma in exactly the same place as the previous lap. Seems to be having a bit of trouble. So we're on then with this battle for P2. Watson, as I say, almost certainly, as I said, if anybody's one stop in this race, he will one stop it. So Falcao's in. Now, because of the lap, that tells me Falcao is two stop in this race. So, but as I said, if anybody's going to one stop this race, Watson is the most likely. Seems to be very, very good on his tyres. Through goes Ozers and Gunnar, which you'd expect. Serious tyre advantage at this stage. And that is Panda now on the back of Watson. Now, that is an issue for Panda. He most certainly did not want to end up with a car in between him and the other two lead drivers. But at this moment in time, Watson is absolutely battling for the win here. He's not... You know, it's going to be very, very difficult for him to hold on to these guys. But if he can, then he's potentially in the battle for the win. Here comes Panda. And Watson, I'm probably not looking to battle Panda too much. Oh! And that is one driver having 7 lap fresher tyres than the other one, going into the slowest corner of the track. Whoops, bang, straight at the butt. So, Panda, again, Watson, just don't fight this too much. You need to use Panda. Allow him to get onto the lead group and use him. Use him and abuse him. As, I'm pretty sure that the yellow flag there was the driver just moving out the way again. So the pits is Kev. Can Watson eat these tyres out? I would suggest he needs to go to somewhere around lap 21. As James nips past Gregory for P6. I don't think Gregory's going to be too easy to shake for him though, because Gregory does have 2 lap fresher tyres. So this may be a difficult one for James to shake off. And I think through the second round of pit stops, I think we're going to see the same thing. I think James will once again, I think he will look to pit slightly earlier, just to try and get a bit of undercut to get him back up to the front group. I think that will be his plan, but we'll have to see. So Watson has fallen off for the top three. So while he was on the top three, I think absolutely he'd have just looked to one-stop this race. Falling off for them. Not convinced it will change his strategy, to be honest. And you can see Chris catching. And you got James after that, Gregory following that. But then there's another 3 seconds to Falcao before he catches after that. So, you know, with the laps ticking away, I think if that's his intention, is to one-stop this race, I think he just needs to stick with it at this stage. We're back to the battle for the top 3 positions. It looks like Karma's just had another issue at the same part of the track. I just wonder then if Karma's actually... He seems to be having the same issue at the same part of the track, so I wonder if he's got some other sort of damage. Oh, it's happened again. This time, he's blocking the pit lane. He could get disqualified here. Oh, careful. He's driving into the pits. Just as Chris was coming to make a move on Watson. That might be a retirement from Karma, I don't know. We'll see. So Chris makes the move on Watson. He's up to P4. Watson will be over the moon to have another driver to try and latch onto. James is approaching Watson now. And he's pretty quickly followed by Gregory, who's very closely followed by Falcao. I think poor World out there, it looks to me like he's having a bit of a lonely race at the moment. He's got... Admiral's not too far behind him, in all fairness, and does have a couple of lap pressure tyres, so may be able to close that gap. And he's bringing Ryanair along with him as well. That might change for a while, but I think it's been a bit of a lonely one so far for him. As we are reaching the halfway point of the race, as the leaders come round the final corner to start lap 19. So here we go then. James surely, as we go on board, picks up a bit of a tow, but the DRS is enough. I was just wondering if Gregory might catch him as well, but not quite. He might have his hands full himself at the moment trying to fight off Falcao. He's got 6 lap younger tyres than him. Here comes Falcao. He's going to move to the inside. And I think he's going to have to fold back in behind, yeah. Oh, never. I thought he was going to make a move on a double right-hander then. That could have been interesting. But in the end, I think he actually got a little bit of oversteery snap coming out of the corner. As Admiral picks up 3 seconds, that'll annoy him. So, Gunnar pulling away out the front. It looks like there's 2 laps tyre advantage for Gunnar. He's just helping him in pulling a bit of a gap at the moment as Panda makes his way past Ozers and up into P2 with a DRS overtake. So Ozers now 3, Chris in 4, doing very nicely. The other thing I'd not thought of course, is could weather be playing an impact with the laps we've seen people into the pits? Maybe, just maybe, it's because there's expected weather on the way. I've absolutely no idea. SD kit becomes the latest to pick up 3 seconds. Chewbacca's pitting. That is his first pit. Well, I think technically it's his second. I think he had to pit the end of lap 1, but and that's what it's showing, 1 lap medium tyres. So it's gone back to the set that he had on at the start, but Ozer's in. Right, in that case there's no rain on the way, because why would he be coming in now if there was no rain? So Ozer's in. And on goes a second set of hards that will take him to the end of this race. 15 laps remaining for him. Let's do a bit longer than what his first set did. He, again, is looking for a bit of an undercut. So maybe find his way back onto the back of Gunnar. But I think Gunnar's going to likely do the same again. He'll just eke out the stint a bit. He's got 2 laps anyway until he reaches the same wear that Ozer's tyres were when he pitted. So he's got 2 laps in the bag anyway. It depends whether he's got mediums or hards to go to. Yeah, it'll be the controller batteries dying, guys. Do apologise. Didn't even tell me they were low. Usually get a message at the bottom of the screen saying your controller batteries are low on Xbox, but nope, no such message. It's Falcao getting past James on the straight. James must be approaching pit stop territory now, surely. Getting past Watson, who is at the point. I mean, he's actually doing an extra lap than what I thought he would do. So, lap 22. That was Bosch just having some issues there in sector 3. And into the pits he comes. And Barry just exits in the pits as well. So on go an almost fresh set of hards for Boss. I think Boss would be pretty much at this stage just using this as a practice session. Well, he's in the same situation as he was earlier on. He's gonna be in amongst the leaders, but they're all gonna pit again, so he will unlap himself again. So he's still in that situation of, if a safety car does come, then he will be able to get back round and onto the back of the group again, as long as he's not that unlucky that it comes really late in a race where he just doesn't have the time to get all the way around. As Ryanair on the outside by the looks of it, well, into turn 1. Well, looking to come back. Can he get a switch back? Ryan will get the DRS though. Double detection, so Ryan gets that done. Up to P8. Remember, that is a battle, a big battle in terms of constructors. So these guys will definitely want to finish ahead of each other. Ryan's 3-lap advantage on those hards looks like it's starting to tell. You can see through the corners. Wells just struggling to stick with him. So I think I would expect to see the red car disappear into the pits at the end of this lap. I think. I don't think it's worth him continuing another lap. I think it should be this lap. Well, he doesn't. He is going to continue. I mean, he is in DRS, so maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe it is worth continuing another lap. That red flashing light on the back of Ryanair's RV is a massive sort of come and get me sign. Come and have a go if you think you're quick enough. It's he couldn't act that. And Chris has caught Gunnar. So seeing the exact same thing happen, just in Chris's favour this time. He's got 2 lap fresher tyres to Gunnar, and now he's right on the back of him. What tyres are they pitting to? It's surely not going to the end from here, so you can only assume they've got mediums rather than hards to go to. So Falcao gets past Panda for P3, and Watson finally then is into the pits off of his 24 lap hard tyres. Why is it put inters on? Right, okay. Now, is that just a massive mistake, or is rain expected very soon? But he got to the point where he could not go any further on those tyres without them exploding, so just had to pit. But that would leave a gigantic question of why on earth... It's raining. It's raining. There is rain. Well, I mean, it's too early for Watson to pit there, but I think he didn't have any choice. He just wanted to get to the rain on the hard tyres, and it's got to the point where he had to pit. But this leaves, as I say, a massive question of why on earth did Ozers pit a second time? I think there's some Ferrari strategy going on, you know. Chris is already in for the inters. It doesn't look wet enough, but... it can change pretty quickly around here, around Mexico, you know. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't look wet enough, but let's see how the guys up further up. You've got to bear in mind that the guys that are staying out on slicks, they are doing so on worn tyres, and it doesn't look the most comfortable of rides right now. The only thing I can think Ozers has done is that he's taken a gamble that it wasn't going to rain or get wet enough for intermediates. Otherwise, there is a massive question mark over why on earth he pitted. The fact that his tyres are fresher is going to help him through this little phase of the race. But it's definitely getting wetter, guys, and I'm not going to be too shocked to see... Here we go. Gunnar in from the lead of the race. Falcao opts to stay out. Panda stays out. James is in. We'll see how this works out for them. I think they've made the right decision, by the way. I think that was the lap to pit right there. And yeah, Ozers is in, so... yeah, I'm afraid that it is a bit the old Ferrari strategy going on. And because of this, look, because of that decision for Ozers to pit, they ended up close to each other on track, the two Ferrari drivers. So now Ozers are pitted to the inters, and Wells having to do an extra lap on these very, very worn hard tyres. He's 19 laps in on them. I think surely to bring Well in would have been the better option for him to pit first, with his tyres being so much more worn. But get a yellow flag. That looks like someone's crashed on the pit straight. Chewbacca, who's on the mediums, he tried and get into the pits there maybe, and didn't quite make it. Just ended up hitting a wall. I don't know. Falcao in from the lead, but it's all too little. Look, the gap is under 12 seconds. That's for Panda and Gunnar, by the way, sorry. So the gap is more like 16 for Falcao and Gunnar. But through goes Gunnar. He takes the lead now. DRS is disabled. So Falcao exits in P2. The gap is about 5.5 seconds. Might be 6 by the time he actually fully gets up to speed. We'll have to see. But will that one lap later pit stop make a difference? It can do. Obviously, the less wet the track is, the more you're going to take out of intermediates. So, could be a difference. Zozers gets past Watson. Watson definitely would have taken some out of his intermediates, to be fair, because he just got it, because if you remember, he got forced into pitting. Chewbacca's still on the median, he needs to come in for inters. So, yeah, as I say, I think Watson got to the point where he got forced into pitting. So I was right when I said that there could be some weather coming into play, because that might explain some of the pit stops that we saw, and it certainly explains, obviously, that barely anyone tried to one-stop it. Does also mean that we no longer, of course, have DRS and overtakes. May be very difficult to come across at this stage. We'll keep an eye and see if we can spot some. It's James within that 1 second, but it's not so important. If anything, it's just going to give him dirty air through the corners. Got a yellow flag on the pitch straight. I've got absolutely no idea. Chewbacca was exiting the pits. I don't think that's what the yellow flag was for. I'll not lie, I've got absolutely no idea. I can only assume somebody was slowing down to let. There is a Ferrari in amongst this, so I can only assume that someone was slowing down to let well through. Perhaps D-Kit. Oh, goodness me, what was that? That's Chewbacca in amongst them. So we got a battle between Whale and Admiral, two drivers that, going by their names, you'd think would be very comfortable in these conditions. Just get the penalties up, guys, so you can have a look. Not so worried about hiding them at this stage. So Falcao, Panda, Admiral 3 seconds, Barry, Chewbacca and Carmel 3 seconds, D-Kit 6 seconds. This has turned into one of those very difficult Mexico races. So, again, unless you got some sort of huge wing advantage, there isn't really going to be a lot you can do, is there? Let's be honest, the slipstream isn't that strong in this year's game. I don't know what it was like in real life, if I'm honest with you, but picks up 3 seconds. A little battle going on there between D-Kit and Chewbacca. Looks like D-Kit's come out on top on that one. James on the back of Panda is the closest battle. They're also on the back of Chris, just ahead. James would love, obviously, at this stage to be able to get past Panda if he can. I think I'm sure he was thinking about it. He seems to be quite close. So, I would have been shocked to see a little throw at the inside there, the slow hairpin, but his choice not to was probably the correct decision, if I'm honest with you. But I think maybe, just maybe, that was a little opportunity. If anybody knows Panda, by the way, it'd be James, because as I say, they drive in the same division in XRS together. So if anybody on this grid is going to know Panda and the way Panda drives, then James is the most likely. So, is there anything? It doesn't look like there's anything we're going to be able to do. Falcao has eaten a little bit into Gunnar's lead, but ultimately, unless Gunnar picks up a penalty at sometime before the end of this race, it's not likely that Falcao's one going to catch, two going to overtake, and get 3 seconds up the road as well. So, well, and Admiral still goes, well, just not able to get past Admiral. And I had the same thing last night. I mentioned earlier on that I won my race on debut last night, but we were at Silverstone and we went from dry to wet, and like they've done tonight, and I pitted 2 laps later than the guy that I ended up having to chase down, and so it enabled me to catch him. But once I got onto the back of him, I could not get past for the life of me. Just could not find a way to get past. I was trying on all the different straights, trying, anything I could, but could not get past. As soon as I hit the corners, the dirty air just meant I just could not follow him. But I got very lucky. And on the final lap, his left rear blew up, and Weil gets 3 seconds there. It did look to me like there was a little bit of argy-bargy, so he may be able to get that removed. He has to actually be able to prove that he was knocked off track and that he didn't just drive off. But Admiral's going to come back at him with the straight line speed. Well, finally gets past, but then Admiral immediately comes back through. Oh, all that work. All that work. Ozer's up the inside of Gregory. And it looks like he's got that done. That's Ozer's up to P6. He's looking at the moment, in terms of the championships, that it's going to be a good day for Gunnar. For the drivers, with James in P4. It also, for the constructors, looks like a good day for RB, with James in P4, Ryan in P9, Ozer's in 6, Well in 11. Doesn't seem like Ferrari can catch a break at the moment in that Constructors' Championship. They just... every race, it's like they're in such a good position. And then it just... something happens and goes wrong. Okay, tonight... I think something happened so well at the start. I've got absolutely no idea what. But I think there was chaos at the start that we unfortunately didn't see on the stream. But... and I think he got caught up in that. I don't know if Ryanair did as well. But the other thing that's happened in this race, to be quite frank, is a mistake in terms of strategy from Ozer's side of the garage. Admiral and Well still going at it, but it is just those two battles on track at the moment that I'm switching between. So the battle for I suppose it's P4 now, because it looks like James has pulled into P3 and James has gotten into P3 and he's pulled away from Chris. So in the end, James fighting back well to... Oh, sorry, they're switching back and forth here, Chris and Panda. They've got... yeah, no, that's not Ozers, is it? It's not a Ferrari, that must be Boss Membrane riding on the back of them. He's a car which is a lap down. Doesn't look like Panda can do anything about Chris on the straights. He's got no battery left at all. He needs to get that switched to none and just charge it for the whole lap so that he's got something for the next time round, because the next time round will be the last time round. Admiral and Whale. So close. These two thoroughly enjoyed themselves in the commentary box together last night. Very abusive, by the way. I don't recommend it. Very abusive to these two on commentary together. Not to each other, to the drivers. Very, very abusive. Right, Panda, is there anything he can do about Chris? As we approach, we're going to have to watch this little battle between these three. And that is Ozers now. So Ozers has caught the back of them. It'll help a little bit because Panda with a penalty. Ozers wants Chris as well, ideally. Ozers moves to the inside. Ozers goes past Panda. But that won't be it. He's going to want to see if he can get Chris as well. I think we got to stick with this one, guys, rather than going to the Whale Admiral. I'm looking at the track map. It looks like Admiral's got complete control of that, if I'm honest. But Ozers could not get past Chris as well, but he won't be giving up just yet. The yellow flag is Karma. Must be that corner again where he's had trouble all race, but I think Karma's just decided he's going to complete the race, but I've got a feeling he's got some sort of bad damage. I'm saying the boss will be able to unlap himself if a safety car comes out. I don't think he can. I've just realised that he's in P18, Karma's in P17, but Karma... Oh, sorry, we're crossing the line. Gunnar wins in Mexico pretty comfortably in the end. Falco was catching him, but with the penalty, it's a 4.6 second gap. But it's still a brilliant P2 from Falco, who started 15th on the grid. James is going to come across and make a really good recovery drive into a podium. Chris, a fantastic... Oh, is it a fantastic P4? Is Ty over the line? It is a fantastic P4 for Chris. Ozers in 5 in the end. Panda on debut takes P6, but a very, very good drive from Panda. Really good addition to the grid, in my opinion. Gregory takes P7. Ryanair does really well to get into the top 10 and take a P8. Watson, who I think's done really well to take a P9 in the end, because he stuck out on those hards, trying to stick it out for the rain, but it just came too late, so he had to switch to the inters too early when the track was still a bit dry. Will not have helped him, so to still hold on to a top 10, he's done pretty well. Admiral does beat Whale to the 10th spot, or there's a possibility maybe that Whale might be able to get a penalty removed. Kev P12, Robbins about to cross the line for 13, Barry 14, D-Kit 15, Chewbacca 16, Karma 17, and Boss in 18. Oh, well, there were parts of that race which were brilliant. There were parts that, to be honest, were a bit boring tonight, but that's just the way it goes. You can't have the great races every week, unfortunately. But there were parts that were pretty good, and pretty interesting strategy as well. But clearly the weather playing a big part in that strategy. But it is, I'm afraid, Ferrari who ultimately dropped the ball when it comes to strategy once again. With well, to be fair to Will, it's on Ozer's side of the garage where they've dropped the ball, not his. But it did have a knock-on effect to Will, because it ended up meaning that he had to do an extra lap when he should have been going on to Inters because they didn't want to double stack. So I think Will needs to get into the team boss and have a word about Ozer's side of the garage there. Oh dear. Well, that's about it, guys. That has been our round 14 of the season at Mexico. Thank you for those that have stuck through that one. It wasn't the easiest watch in the world, let's be honest with you. But the drivers did well. They've coped well with the conditions tonight. Everybody has finished the race, by the way. Even Karma and Boss, who had fallen down the order and had clearly had some issues going on, stuck with it and stuck to the end of the race. So fair play to you two. One thing left for me to do, which is to award my driver of the day. I have two that I am thinking of at the moment. I ain't got any stand-ins. Did I not get any stand-ins, or did they come up and I just completely ignored them? I'm put there. I think I'm going to go with the winner. I think I'm going to go with Gunnar for driver of the day tonight. The other one who I was sort of looking at as a potential driver of the day was Chris, who I thought had a very good race tonight. So it was between Gunnar and Chris, but I think Gunnar's, I can't say complete dominance because it wasn't complete dominance, but it wasn't far off of it. So yeah, I think, and you've got to bear in mind, Gunnar, a pad player, he's at a track where tyre wear is extremely high in a way for everybody. But to add to that, he's on pad and he's still come through and taken victory. And in my opinion, got his strategy absolutely spot on, pitting at the right time in every instance. So yeah, in my opinion, I think that's enough for driver of the day. But obviously, we have a massive shout out to Chris, who I thought had a very, very good race tonight. James as well, a massive comeback for James after whatever it was that happened at the start. James, if you are listening, I didn't see what happened at the start, so I don't know why you ended up falling down. Obviously, I guess something did happen, but I've got no idea what it was. But it was a great fight back to P3, and a really good debut from Panda as well. So all that sort of thing going on. There we go, guys. That is it then from me tonight. Good night. God bless. I will see you again next week on Tuesday. Other than that, don't forget Thursday Division with Delano. Absolutely incredible views he gets on his stream each week. Superb commentator. So please come and watch that. If I'm lucky enough to get drawn by the wheel, you might even see me on track on Thursday night, as I am home this week. But other than that, I will see you on Sunday Division on Brian's stream for the Sunday Division where I'm driving in that one. So other than that, good night, God bless, see you again soon.